Welcome to the Selling Show, where we unpack, repack, and break down exactly how top experts sell their ideas, their value, and their services. This is your host, David Newman, and you are in the right place if you want better clients, bigger deals, and higher fees. Well, you've heard about how important it is to be a thought leader, to be a person of influence, to have a platform. And what better way to have a platform than to have your ideas packaged in a book? To help us with that, the amazing Sylvia Melena, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, David. And back at you. You are amazing and love being on this show. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. That's very kind of you to say. Well, let's start because you have obviously lived this journey before teaching it, coaching it, and codifying it. Tell us a little bit about your professional journey that brought you to the work that you're doing today, and what were some interesting pit stops along the way?
Okay. So I have a business that focuses on leadership and organizational development. And primarily it's teaching leaders and managers how to do great work, which means creating great workplaces and improving performance for the organization. So that's my bread and butter. I fell into the whole, I wrote a book as part of that journey, and that book took off. And just to give you a little bit of context, it wasn't a fluke, because back in the day, my undergraduate degree is in advertising. I had the privilege of interning and working in those entry-level positions, but with some amazing people. So I do have and advertising and marketing is like riding a bike. Once you learn it, you don't really forget it. And so that played into my whole world of writing this book. I started from the place of promotion, product, place, price, promotion, positioning. I wanted the book to have impact, but I also wanted it to sell. So the book did amazingly well. It took off. Not only did it achieve those coveted badges of Amazon #1 bestseller, but it actually sold print copies, thousands of them year one. And because of that, I also landed in some amazing podcasts. I don't know if you know, Kevin Cruz is one of them. And so the LeadX podcast, I also landed on my quest for the best with Bill Ringle. And he has some amazing people in the leadership space that are New York Times bestselling authors. So here I am, this independently published author landing on this podcast. But through that, I started getting clients, and my first client was a Fortune 500 client, a Fortune 500 client with an annual revenue of $8 billion in just the state of Hawaii. Not that I closed it because I was super green and didn't know how to close a sale, but it showed me that the book and writing a quality authority building book that really makes a difference can bring in leads. And of course, those can turn to clients if you know how to manage it on the back end, but that's a whole nother story. That said, fast forward, I was invited to speak on the Black National Speakers Association. Marqueza Petway was one of the board members, or maybe still one of the board members. So she invited me because I had invited her to speak at the Association for Talent Development. Yeah. And she asked me to share book marketing because I was being so successful with my book. So I did a presentation and landed clients out of that. That's how I fell into helping other authors. So that's my journey. My background is not in business. I worked in health and human services for 26 years, and I have a passion for helping people. And really, that's how I approach everything that I do, including writing books that sell. I want to help those that are reading them.
Wow, so amazing. I want to pick up on the very last thing you just said there, because a lot of people write a book with the intention of quote unquote helping people. You are not going to help anybody if you don't write a book that sells.
Yes.
The book has to sell so that people get the book, read the book, hopefully implement some of the ideas in the book. A book that never sells or never sells in significant numbers is not helping anybody. And it's, of course, disappointment and heartbreak for us. But more importantly, I think it's the tragedy of all the people that book could have helped if you were better at selling. book.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And here's the thing I find that authors and whether regardless of the genre, authors want to write and they want to impact lives. And somehow we believe that selling is a bad thing. And we have to really change our mindset because of what you said, David, that if I'm not selling, I'm making an offer that's going to change your life. And
Yes.
if I know that, then I am obligated to make sure that my products and services are selling to make that difference.
Absolutely. Now, I do want to talk about, and thank you for sharing that professional background. If I'm getting the timeline right, your first book came out while you were still employed in the
Yes.
health and human services world, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Talk about riding that entrepreneurial pony at the same time that you've got the full-time day job.
So it's interesting because all my life, and I am strategic. I used to oversee strategic planning and operational support for the County of San Diego in the health and human services arena. So I am strategic, but my life has been almost a step by step, following my passion and focusing on my strengths. And you and I talked a little bit about strengths finders, focusing on those things that bring me joy and that make impact. So I was working full time when I went back to school for my master's. I did not graduate until I was 50. And that master was in leadership and organizational development. And then I incorporated a business that I did not really work in because I was working full time. So a few years passed, and that was about 2014 when I graduated with my master's. In 2018, I could not resist the urge of finally writing and publishing my book. So between 2016 and 2017, I wrote it. And that journey was interesting because juggling a full-time job and the commitment to get the book done. But the thing about me and those that actually finish is that I really wanted to do this. Like you said, just do it. You're the master of getting things done. So the only way you're going to get things done is to just do it. And knowing that my schedule was busy, it was about saying, I am going to commit. I am going to be disciplined. And every single day, rain or shine, from 4 o'clock in the morning to 4:30, when all the mice are asleep and everyone is snuggled away in their beds, I am going to write. And that's what I did for a year. Without having a publishing background, without having a platform, without having clients or a business other than on paper, that's what I did. And I published the book in July of 2018. And immediately I started getting those whales coming in. And so I had to make a decision. Either I stay and work 5 more years, as was my plan before retiring, or I say I am committed, I'm all in, and I'm going to cut the cords now and start working on my business. And I did the latter. I decided to just go for it and to just
amazing. Are you loving this interview as much as I am? Holy smokes. Hey, you know what this reminds me of? There's a fantastic sales book that you got to get your hands on right here, right now. It's called Do It Selling. How do I know it's great? Well, I wrote it and you need to read it. Pop over right now to doitselling.com. Now, back to our interview. Now, I know that sometimes we start a business because we ourselves, we're looking for that service or looking for that mentor. In this book writing and publishing and marketing process, did you have any mentors or coaches to help you, or did you totally do this just on a wing and a prayer with no guidance whatsoever?
I'm going to say that in the beginning, I did do it with a wing and a prayer. Prayer works, just to let you know, I am faith-based. But I don't recommend you go at it solo for a variety of reasons. You really need the support of someone who's walked in those shoes before and can help you learn without hitting those walls. I hit a lot of walls and I learned as a result, but there's a better way and more efficient way to do it. Now for my book writing journey, I wrote the book and then I hired a book coach to help me with structure. But it probably would have made sense to hire a coach from the beginning of the process. But you can't do it without a coach. I'm not saying that everyone needs one, but as far as the business is concerned, that I would have benefited tremendously by having someone like you guide me along the way.
Yes, no, absolutely. Well, and I think it's one of those things where because I made the same mistake. Early on, people ask me sometimes when I'm a guest on a podcast, David, what regrets do you have, or if you turn back the hands of time, what would you do differently? I was so fiercely and stubbornly independent. I refused to ask for help. When help was offered, I'm not talking about paying some big consultant or joining some super expensive mastermind. I had friends, I had colleagues, I had people in ATD and NSA. This is 20 years ago, back when it was ASTD.
Right.
David, what can I help you with? David, who do you need to connect with? David, who can I introduce you to in my network? And stupidly and stubbornly, my answer, Sylvia, was, oh no, I'm good. I'm fine. How can I help you? Because I think sometimes people in our position, folks that are mentors and consultants and advisors, we are amazing at giving the advice and the help, and we're really terrible at accepting it.
I think that part of that, and there could be many reasons for different people. For me, it was, I would say, the lack of foresight to say help would be better because then I have someone guiding me. And you're right, I could have reached out to people within my network. I didn't have to pay a fancy consultant to get the help
Right.
that I needed, or
Yeah.
take advantage of the resources available through, like, let's say, the Economic Development Council and different entities that help new businesses.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's hard to say I need the help because it makes us vulnerable. And I have to say, David, the minute I started being more vulnerable, that's when doors started opening. And it's amazing when you walk in your truth, when you walk in integrity, when you don't pretend that everything is hunky dory, the amount of help that comes your way. And I still need help today. I still avail myself of other resources. And I think that I will always need the help. And knowing that makes you more self-aware, but then it gives you a strength that's leverage strength. You leverage other people's strength.
Well, let me ask you, because you did, the your book has done so well, obviously selling many, many thousands of copies, 270 plus reviews on Amazon in a fairly short period of time. I mean, the book's only been out like 5 years
I
or
believe
so,
so.
right?
2018, maybe coming on six.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit, what were the success ingredients of your, not just the book launch, because obviously the book launch is important, but what other strategies that you now teach your clients and your audiences? What were some of the building blocks of making sure that that book was going to be successful from a sales standpoint?
Mhm. So I am blessed that I have the advertising background. And so I trained, my undergrad degree is in advertising with an emphasis in sociology. Sorry, an emphasis, it's in journalism with an emphasis in advertising, minor in sociology.
Yeah.
But you never forget that it is a product. I see my books as products, and yes, they lead into services, but the book is a product. So the product has to appeal to my target audience. So when I first started writing, in my mind, I wanted to make sure that I, from the get go, produced a product that was going to meet market need. And that meant solving a problem or meeting a need for my market. And so we need to start the writing process from the get-go with that thought. So in selecting your topic, you want to make sure it's a topic that's in demand. You want to make sure that it's a topic that you're passionate about and that you can bring some value to the table in that topic. So from beginning to end, it's looking at it as a product. And then everything from the title, from the book cover, which is part of the packaging, the design, but the content. And content is king, because ultimately people are going to need value out of that book. They want to receive, if they buy a book, they have an expectation they're going to get a certain value out of it. And we need to be prepared to deliver on whatever promises we're making, either in the title or the description or in any other marketing materials that we're using. So it's having our clients or potential clients or our readers' needs top of mind, and serving them the way they need and want to be served. Not how I want to be served, because it's not for me, but it's how
Right.
they are looking to be served.
Tell us a little bit, because you mentioned this in passing, and I know that there are some strategies and some insights that you have on this. You write the book, and a lot of people write books, and a lot of people write even good books. They write good books that do not generate business.
Right.
You have written a fantastic book that does a great job in bringing people into your world and into a conversation about how you can help them beyond the book. What are the things that we need to be thinking about before the book comes out, as far as what's in the book, how do we get people engaged in the rest of our world as they're reading the book? But what did you do before the book's publication, during the book launch, and then on an evergreen basis to make sure that not only does the book support the business, but the business supports the book?
Okay. So I think in my first book, which is this one, it's Supportive Accountability, How to Inspire
Yes.
People and Improve Performance. In that book, I wasn't thinking that big because I was so green at it. And so if I were to launch it, I would do it a little bit different. But what the book does do, it is an authority building book. What I call the authority building book is that it established a model in the leadership space. And what I did is I combined, and I know you know about leadership, employee engagement and accountability. And I married the two because I'm results oriented.
Yeah.
So I created a model, but throughout the book, I made sure the reader knew that one, I have a business. I can help you. And so in my bio in the book, it says I have a business. I have my website where they can come back and look. I do have a lead magnet in there, and that's for them to download a free documentation toolkit, and they give me their email. So I start bringing them into my ecosystem with the book.
Yeah.
If I were to do that one differently, and I actually wrote about it in Lead Magnet Formula, I would have mapped out what I call the minimum essential offers and really positioned the book as part of that roadmap. And so it would be the lead magnet. It would be and this is a Kickstarter book. It's a small one, 21,000 words. I would position the Kickstarter book as my entry level product. Then I would think, what is the next product that my introductory offer? What does it look like? And then my target offer. And I call it minimum essential because we should have at least those three. If we're getting started. Later, of course, we can build more and we can increase our ecosystem. But in the beginning, we should have at least those minimum. And I say the lead magnet, an intro offer, and then a target offer, which whatever that looks like. But we should incrementally, because people have to know, like, and trust us. And once they bought the book, there's a little bit more trust in getting a freebie. So when they buy a book, they get to know you more in depth. Usually what I've seen with this book, people are calling ready to rock. I mean, they're not calling just thinking. They're on board because I gave it away. So I didn't hold anything back. And that's the thing that I think sometimes we're afraid to give our knowledge out. But the more that we share, the more people know we know our stuff, and the more that people trust us, and they either like our philosophy or they don't. And I believe a great book will attract the right client and repel the wrong client.
Yes. Yeah, both very, very important. I want to talk a little bit about the transition from the first book, which obviously supports your leadership consulting business, and then the second book, because the lead magnet formula, that book, that's for a lead magnet really of any kind, not necessarily just the lead magnet to sell books, right?
So it's not to sell books. I actually use the example of speakers, coaches, consultants who want to bring in more clients. As a matter of fact, the subtitle is How to Plan, Create, and Design a Free Ebook in Just 6 Days That Attracts More Clients.
Yeah.
So in 6 days, whoever buys this book will be able to put together, will do the research, the planning, the writing, the design on Canva, and will print their lead magnet. Of course, I don't go into the next phase of it because then that's my intro offer I talked about, and that's a nominally priced course that shows them how to put all the tech together for that and deliver it. And then that leads into my ecosystem with working with authors, because authors are having a hard time putting together lead magnets. But no, it's built for consultants.
Yeah.
And so for me, I look at the book I know that there are author magnets out there that people write books about how to get a lead magnet to get people to buy your book.
Sure.
But I take a shortcut into I don't do that. I go straight for the book sales, and the books lead to business. I
Yeah.
want to cut that step out. Yeah.
I know that a number of years ago, it's funny that you mentioned this. There was a big, and I guess these things go in waves, don't they? They go in cycles. So a few years ago, everyone was in the author community, in the business author community. They were saying, you know what you do? You take a lead magnet book, but you don't put it on your website. You put it on Amazon as a free Kindle book, right? $0, 0 cents.
Mm-hmm.
At the front of that, of course, is the QR code or the website. So even if no one downloads the free book, if they're browsing the book, they go, oh, I wonder what Sylvia has going on. I wonder what David has going on. They opt in, they go into a funnel, etc. But then obviously some people will just click and get the free Kindle book. Is that something that you've played with? Is that a strategy that you evaluated and said, that's doesn't really fit my business model? What's your thinking on that?
So I think it can be effective, especially if you have several books in your catalog. So bringing someone in with a perma-free, because I still see the permanently free books in Kindle. Those because if you're giving them a taste, a small sample of your work, and if they love your work, they're going to want to buy more. I don't use that strategy. I don't say not to use it because, marketing is very personal, and what works for one person may not work for someone else. For instance, social media is phenomenal, especially for impressions and awareness, but I'm not great at social media. So that's not that's not a thing that I focus on a lot. I am great at using books, at using book promotions, at leveraging Amazon ads, because the advertising world is where I grew up in. So I use what I know. And then I'm also good at writing. So my blogs generate traffic as well. So so I use what works for me. But I think that as individuals, we need to examine what am I passionate about? Where's my skill set? What can I subcontract out? And then decide what my promotional mix is going to look like.
So I'm curious, with the promotional mix around supportive accountability, do you feel, because some people look at Amazon ads as a bit of a mystery, and I think it's a lot less mysterious than some people think it is. Mm-hmm. It's much more straightforward, for example, than Facebook ads or Google ads.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Was an advertising strategy sort of baked in from the beginning for supportive accountability?
Yes, but I'm going to have to give some credit to where credit is due. So even though advertising is my background, I did all the legwork on the book cover and the content of the book and the packaging and all of that. And I knew what I wanted to do, and I published. No launch plan, none. And
really?
Then I panicked. Yes. And then I panicked. And so I started scrambling around, looking at different websites, and I came across information from Paul Brody. He's on Amazon, and he has an amazing book launch strategy. So I followed it to the T. But here's the kicker. I asked a question where he had posted some information on a Facebook group, and he replied and gave me tips that were personalized. And so then he read my book and gave me my first review. So I believe that I was at the right place at the right time. I don't recommend it. Have your book launch. Yes. So he showed me in his book how to use promo sites, how to use the pricing strategy coupled with book promotion sites. So of course, free ebook, driving traffic through the promo sites. Then you raise up the price a little bit, then paid promo sites. And what I did, then I did a price jump, and immediately I kicked in my Amazon ads. And on Amazon ads, I believe it was Dave Cheston's Kindlepreneur that I tapped, if I'm remembering it correctly, because it's been so long.
Yeah.
Yes. So I kind of pieced knowledge from different people, and I put together a plan based on what I had researched.
Yes. Yeah. Dave from Kindlepreneur, really, really smart, valuable, in-depth, lots of free stuff. Let's go back to that for a second, because you said something again in passing that I really want to make sure people hear from you. You say both books actually, right? Both the supportive accountability book and of course the lead magnet formula book, they're effective in marketing your services because, quote, I gave them everything. You did not
Yes.
hold back. You did not say, oh, that's my secret strategy. Only paying clients get that. Reassure people that are listening to us right now,
Yes.
Sylvia, why giving it away is actually the smartest strategy.
Okay, so one thing we don't want to do, and you will get negative reviews if you promise. I read a book, I won't say who, they said they were going to give me X. I was going to get all the tools to do X. I buy the book, and but to get them, I have to sign up on an email list. I'm thinking, I already paid you the book and you promised to deliver X, you didn't. So that left a bad taste in my mouth. And no matter how good this person is, I am not going to be part of their tribe because I don't trust the person. It's know, like, and trust. People can't trust you if you don't deliver what you promise. Giving away the farm is people learn differently. Like, honestly, some people will, you can give them everything. This, if you buy the book and you follow it step by step, you will have a lead magnet that works and that it will be part of your business ecosystem in 6 days. Promise. The person that tested it for me did hers in 3 days. So I say 6 days just to make it manageable, but you can get it done faster. It's not, because it's not rocket science.
Yeah.
But then someone will know that works. What else can she do for me? Now I have my book writing business. Wow. If I learn to do this with a book, I wonder what I can get if I take a course, if I, join her group coaching. So it's basically showing that you know how to deliver. And if they join your paid offers, they're going to get more value because people want value. And so so B2B and B2C, business to business, it's all about value. What is a value? What value am I going to get? And usually I like to over deliver on promises. So it's important. And I'm not afraid that people will buy my book and not want to buy a course, because if that's how they function, wonderful. Not all my book buyers will move on, but then I will have that handful that wants more. And those will be your raving fans that will recommend you to other people, just like I recommend Paul Brody and how I recommend Dave Chesson, because I'm a raving fan.
Are you loving this interview as much as I am? Holy smokes. Hey, you know what this reminds me of? There's a fantastic sales book that you got to get your hands on right here, right now. It's called Do It Selling. How do I know it's great? Well, I wrote it and you need to read it. Pop over right now to doitselling.com. Now, back to our interview. So please do tell us on the Melena consulting side, what are the different ways that you work with your clients, and what's small, medium, large, and super size? How can people tap in to your expertise?
And Melena Consulting is the book, the nonfiction book writing, publishing, and marketing. And so what I have right now in terms of packages, I do have the free lead magnet. It's a free download, not download. It's a 5-video course. It's absolutely free, and people will get started on their journey. Now, what they will get out of that one is that they will nail their topic, get crystal clear on their goals for the book and how it's going to help them in their business. And they'll have a topic that, one, will be marketable, two, they'll be passionate about, and they'll be confident. And I do teach them how to do some research and share some tools. And one of those is Publisher Rocket from Dave Chesson, which is amazing when you're doing your book research. From there, they can join my First Draft Accelerator online course, and that's self-paced. I believe it's $147. If they join my free lead magnet, they get a significant discount. So they get it for much less than that, because they're already in my tribe, and I want to reward those that join my list. But with that one, you can write your first draft of your book, and not just any book. One, like you said, David, that is going to sell. One that's positioned to sell tons of copies because there's value. And so they will have their topic, they will do all their research, they will structure it, outline it, have the content that sells, and get the first draft written in just 8 weeks. And it absolutely works, because I wrote this one in 7 days or a little bit less than 7 following that process.
Yeah.
And again, it is designed to attract people to the book. And once your first draft is done, it's just a matter of getting, refining it, editing, and then following the publishing process. And I do have courses for that. And in the courses for publishing, I also jump, and even with any of my courses, people can ask me questions, because I believe that I want people that actually get things done with my products. I can sell a product, but I get a kick, or I get my energy and my passion and my motivation when people get results, because I'm a results-oriented person. When someone tells me, wow, lead magnet formula works. I was doing a happy dance. I wrote mine in 4 days.
Right.
That makes me happy. And so with book writing, it's too easy to lose mojo. So, or it's easy to get stuck, because maybe I said something and I think people understand, but they're still uneasy, or maybe they're more detailed. They can jump into the community inside the course and ask the question, and I jump in and I respond. So I do provide that support. It's not just you bought my course and you're on your own. And then, of course, I sometimes take book coaching clients. I don't take a lot of them, but I do occasionally will take 1 or 2 book coaching clients.
Nice. And those folks work with you privately, one-on-one?
Yes, they do. They do. They get to use all the other resources, but then I handhold and look at their specific project and make recommendations. And just to clarify, my book coaching is not like the typical book coaching. I shouldn't say typical. It's not appreciative inquiry, where I go in, like a certified coach will go in, pulling things out. It's more of a consulting relationship.
Yeah.
You tell me what you want to get done, and I come in with all the resources and the information, and I guide you, and you make the decision. But I give you the info. I don't draw it out, and the faster we get it done, the better.
Amen. I love that. Absolutely. So I'm curious, with your corporate work, do you let your corporate clients see the book authorship side, and do you let the authors see the leadership side? Because I'm imagining there's either referrals or there's even direct clients for the other side of the house that are coming to you for one side.
Yes, I am very transparent about what I do and I don't. And so from an advertising perspective and SEO, I do have 2 websites, because I don't want to confuse the search engine. So I do have 2 separate tracks, but my email signature has my leadershipstrength.com, but I don't use that I use my melenaconsulting.com website as part of my email, and all my emails come from that. My signature line does have a picture of my book and say, do you want to write yours? So my leadership clients can click on that. And when I train on book writing, when I film courses or I coach, I use my leadership book as an example. And I pull the curtain back and I show pain points as well as wins, so that they can see how it actually translates in reality. So how it works.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm open on both sides.
That's really, really good. Have you had some executives that were initially, you had some contact with them because of your leadership work, say, hey, Sylvia, don't tell the others, but I actually want to write a book. Can you help me with that too? Have you had some crossover clients yet?
No, I have not had, I have not had any crossover clients yet that I'm aware of. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's a huge opportunity. It's funny. I have another client who's a full-time consultant, but also does stand-up comedy. And so during the stand-up comedy, she'll tell people about her corporate consulting.
Nice.
It sometimes comes up. And then obviously when she's doing a workshop or a seminar, she'll talk about her comedy career. And she's gotten business because people say, well, she's a really good trainer, but did you also know she's a stand-up comic?
That's interesting you should say that. So when you put it that way, I recently did a workshop in Sacramento for the Sacramento International Book and Family Festival. So I did a how to write a nonfiction book workshop. And I was talking again, using my leadership side as an example. And I did walk out. I walked out with a person who wants me to come in and help train some staff up in Northern Cal. So I guess there is cross-pollination that I don't really think about it. I am working on some products that lead magnet formula will help. I'm trying to make some of my my curriculum. I'm thinking of licensing and having a whole platform for them to access. So that's kind of a little bit down the line, but I already have some people in the works testing and seeing how that will work out.
Very nice. Very exciting. Well, as we're landing the plane, my last question before we get to how can people tap into more of your expertise and where can we send people? Amazon reviews.
Yes.
Amazon reviews can sometimes be like pulling teeth, right? The book comes out and it's like, it's a very slow trickle. Sometimes the trickle even stops. You obviously have figured out some genius ways to get lots and lots of Amazon reviews, because the first book has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of reviews. The second book is mere days or maybe a couple of weeks old. So we're not fully formed yet. What is your secret to getting readers to do reviews?
Okay, so interesting that you would say that, because I know you see, so sometimes we compare ourselves to someone else's 5 years down the line instead of our starting point.
Right.
The reason I say that is because supportive accountability reviews did not come in like you see them now. It was not speed lightning. So my first reviews, I would say tap your network. And like I mentioned, Paul Brody, he has a Facebook group. He's amazing. And he gives away the farm, which is why he's so successful.
Yeah.
You know, Dave Chesson gives away the farm. That's why he's so successful. And so Paul Brody not only wrote my first Amazon review, but in his Facebook group, he encouraged his community to help. And so my first 10 came that way. But it wasn't like I had 100 reviews, and they did trickle. They did trickle in one after another after another. What I don't recommend is never pay someone to give you reviews. You will get banned, and that's the end of Amazon. And Amazon is the behemoth of book sales. So you don't want to lose access to that distribution channel. But I think it's tapping your network. When you do a book promo, like if you promote your book, the more people download your book. If they love it, they're going to leave reviews. But yes, and reviews are essential. If you don't have reviews, then you don't have any sales. You want to have at least 10 in its infancy. Right now, Lead Magnet has 2. I'm hoping more come in. I'm hoping for 5 or 10 so that I can, before my promos kick off, so that I can start seeing some downloads.
Well, Sylvia, so great to have you on. I know people want to get connected and stay connected to more of your wisdom and brilliance. Where can we send people? What links can we put in the show notes?
So for the book writing and publishing, I'm at melenaconsulting.com, and that's MELENA consulting, all one word.com. And in the front page, you'll see a link to my free gift, which is the nonfiction book starter kit. Anyone who wants to write their book, it's a great way to start for impact and sales. On the leadership side of the house, it's a lot easier. It's leadershipstrength.com, and it's no S at the end of strength.
Amazing. Well, Sylvia, thank you so much. It was great to talk with you. And all of those links will be in the show notes. Also, LinkedIn. You're pretty active on LinkedIn?
I am not as active as I should be. Social media is not my strength. I'm actually trying to train a VA right now. But
fair enough. Okay. So all of those links to the Lead Magnet and to, we'll put both your books in there, and we'll put the free nonfiction book starter kit directly under this episode at thesellingshow.com. So Sylvia, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. It was a pleasure being on your show, David.
And that wraps up another episode of The Selling Show. Hey, tell you what, if you like us, rate us and review us on Apple Podcasts, subscribe, tell a friend, go grab the notes and downloads and extras at thesellingshow.com. See you next time.